Welcome to this edition of the Preston Olson Show, episode number 2. We're going to talk a little bit about Trump's tax plan and what that's going to do for the economy. We're also going to talk about a little bit of NFL today. So, what I'd like to get into first is Trump's tax plan. Basically, this comes from The Balance, and it's by a great writer at The Balance, Kimberly Amadeo. Now, on September 27, 2017, the Trump administration released its tax reform plan. The United Tax Reform Framework is what this is called. This would cut income tax rates, lowering the top rate to 35%. It doubles the standard deduction but eliminates personal exemptions. The plan would lower the corporate tax from 35% to 20%. It allows a one-time repatriation of corporate profits earned overseas. Trump's tax reform will boost economic growth. Now, again, that comes from Kimberly Amadeo at The Balance, also thebalance.com. Now, let me tell you something. So far, so good, right? So, away from the article itself, so far, so good. It does seem like this is something that will bolster the economy from where it's at. So, the next part of this article that's really interesting is when I start reading a little bit more out of this. And this is the more logical and thought through articles that's out there about the Trump tax plan. So when I got into detail with it, the income tax brackets are going to go from 7 brackets to 3 brackets. What that really means is that the middle class will be better reflected when you go to file your income tax return. What that does for you is gives you a better income tax return. Also, the child care credit that you get the deduction for when you file taxes for having children, that is going to be raised. So, again, it's going to hit homes and families directly where they need it most, which is in their pockets. Now, the biggest part of tax reform and why I think it is one of the top 3 issues in this country is because we cannot continue to have people not pay taxes and people go without paying their taxes and people scared to continue to pay taxes because of the way the tax framework is set up. So this ultimately will change that. This ultimately will make it better, and it's a more logical approach. Instead of 7 tax brackets, it can be very confusing. Now, there's going to be 3 if this goes through. So what the brackets look like is the lowest tax bracket would be 12%. Now, that would be a decrease from where the lowest one is at now at 15%. So that reflects the lowest of the low. You know, that's reflecting a lot better with the 3% decrease in the income bracket. So the middle rate would be 25%. Now, this is down from 28%. So this is also good for the economy. The top bracket would be taxed 35%, down from 39.6%, which is the highest in all first world countries. Trump and the House Freedom Caucus support maintaining the current rate. This, however, would add more revenue and deter accusations that the plan is a boon to the wealthy. So, very nicely put by Kimberly Andromeda. And the plan doesn't specify the income ranges for those tax brackets, but it would probably be similar to just what it is now. And then you just, if you do the math, because they haven't given the numbers, but if you do the math and break it down, it's somewhere lower than what it is now, from the lowest bracket to the middle bracket, and then the second and third bracket from the lowest. So that would be your middle, and then the top would be the probably the remainder. So ultimately, it will be a better deal, and ultimately, it'll hopefully encourage people to keep filing their taxes, so we don't continue to have this problem with a shortage of people paying their income taxes, and having to deal with the IRS later on. This plan comes at a good time and a much needed time for Trump and his campaign. And that is because a lot of things haven't gone his way. Most if not almost everything, has gotten done by executive order that he has pushed and he wanted, not what Congress has wanted and Congress has pushed. So this would be a victory for Trump that he desperately needs, that he has promised, and that he campaigned on. So it is time to make those campaign promises come true. And I think Trump has a good opportunity to do that with the tax reform plan that he has set on the table. He's going to have to court some Democrats for the plan, but ultimately it could work. And if it's going to work, it's going to be under the Trump administration, because I don't know of another individual that could get tax reform done and get tax reform done this early in his presidential campaign. Because he is at the same time campaigning for his reelection. So it's very important for him that he gets this right. It's very important for the people around them, around Donald Trump, President Trump, that they get this right as well. Now, ultimately, I don't believe this is a plan for the rich. If you look at the plan up and down, the specifics of it, it's not a plan for the rich. I think in some cases, in some instances, I don't think there's a way you can make taxes not help the rich in some way and still get tax reform passed. So you're going to have to let some things just suffice and continue to move forward and just try to get the best deal for the middle class and the below the middle class, which doesn't get talked about. So that is the Trump tax plan, the short version of it, even shorter than his version. But the way it's been detailed and the way he's been talking about it, this is something serious, and this is something he has promised, as well as the repeal of Obamacare. So hopefully the Republican Congress, the Republican Senate could also work to pull some Democrats over and get tax reform done. I don't think the plan he's outlined here is going to be the ultimate plan. I think there's still going to be some work that has to be done, but I see tax reform getting done this year by December, January at the latest of next year. So that's the Trump tax plan in short. Stay tuned, because I will be back on this topic. Hey, thanks for staying tuned, everybody. So to take us out for the day, I'm going to break down a little bit of NFL. So here it is, the NFL news flash from Preston Olson himself. Why are we still talking about Colin Kaepernick? Why? If we really want this to end, we just don't need to bring attention to it anymore. Bringing attention to it has done nothing but blow this out of proportion. People are mad. They're frustrated on both sides of the national anthem protest. Here's the best thing to do. Stop talking about it, because the way people bait you in to talking about certain things that really it's a straw man argument, and there's no point in continuing to debate kneeling for the national anthem. Don't kneel for the national anthem. It's wrong any way you look at it, any way you dress it up. And the way it's being approached right now is wrong. And the NFL has taken notice. They've seen it in their merchandise sales. They've seen it in their viewership. And they're hearing it from the fans, who ultimately pay the players' salaries. So, look, I understand the frustration as best as I can. Enough is enough. We can have an honest debate about race relations, and we can do it without batting eyes at each other, and we can do it, but we have to be able to put these smaller things aside, like kneeling for the anthem. We have to push them aside. We have to be out of sight, out of mind with some of these things, and that's just one of them. Done with Colin Kaepernick. I'm done talking about him. I'm done hearing about him unless he's playing football or unless he's out there promoting the well-being of others instead of damning the police and damaging the flag by his actions and actions of other NFL players that he's encouraged. So I'm sick of it. Now, Jim Caldwell is one of my favorite coaches in the NFL. He earned a big contract extension. He plays the Packers tough every year. The Lions are one of the best teams in the NFL, in the NFL and the NFC North. They're playing good today. So other than that, Jim Caldwell, hats off to you. But someone's got a bigger contract, and that's Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is the highest paid athlete. Who's going to be next is my question, right? Who's going to be next? Russell Westbrook is the guy, right? Big money. He's got Paul George. I mean, they put a team together out there. Now, what's going to happen if they don't make it to the NBA championship? Because it's definitely something that when you make that type of money, the city's counting on you to do it, the organization's counting on you to do it, and your team is counting on you to do it. Don't let them down. The NFL. I had to throw a little basketball in there. I just had to. The NFL should end Thursday night football. Here's my proclamation. If the athletic commission who oversees the NFL really cares about player safety. Look, we all seen what happened on Thursday night when Davante Adams from the Green Bay Packers took that shot, a dirty shot. It was a dirty, cheap shot from a Bears player who was frustrated, and they were getting their behinds kicked all up and down the field. Look, here's my stance on that. It's a dirty hit. We can't have that in the league, and it's not that type of play is not welcome in the league. It's just not. Where's Goodell on his stance there? And I still haven't heard a whole lot about it, and I know Davante Adams is set to play today. He's not even questionable. So what a tough individual. What a tough guy. And I'm not just making that an issue because I'm a Packers fan. I'm making it an issue because if it was on the other side, I'm going to call that for what it is as well. And I call it like I see it. But if the athletic commission really cares about player safety, you got guys playing this type of level and this caliber of level and this type of sport 4 days after a battle where both teams go to overtime. I mean, I know it's kind of a freak coincidence, but still, 4 days after, what kind of rest is that? Because you still have to practice. I mean, you have look at fighting, for example. Guys get 3 months, 4 months in between fights. In the NFL, it's back to back to back, and it's physical contact. You're banging heads. Don't tell me you're not. On every play, there's someone banging heads. So this is a real important topic that I brought up because it needs to be looked at, it needs to be addressed, because Thursday night football could really hurt those great teams with players that are already, they're thin, but they're still winning. And then you play Thursday night football 4 days after you had a battle against whoever it is, and here come more injuries. So if you care about player safety, you care about keeping players safe, look, at least push it to Saturday. Here's a good, so push it to Saturday and push it to Saturday night. You could say college football. I mean, you can make a case for Friday night football, and I think it would do better than Thursday night football. But either you're going to lose Thursday night football with ratings and you're just going to dry it out, or the athletic commission is going to put their foot down, and I think they need to. So that's my spiel. That's the NFL rundown. Go Packers. I hope they beat the Cowboys today. Other than that, everybody enjoy your day, and thank you for tuning in to the Preston Olson Show, Episode 2. Again, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I will be back with another video not too long from now. Have a good night, everybody, and just like the hands of time, I'm turning it over to you.